Welcome to the Roar Room, truth on the mic. Healing the soul, we rise and ignite. Mind, body, spirit aligned in the flame. Roar Room tribe, we roar in our name. Here they come with hearts so bright, sharing wisdom, sharing light. The Mushroom Lady's back once more. Welcome home to the Roar Room door. With love and knowledge hand in hand, helping people understand. Nature's gifts are here today, lighting up a healthier way. Welcome back, we're glad you're here, bringing hope throughout the year. Raise a smile and sing along. Together we are growing strong. Roar Room family, loud and free, living life so joyfully. Love and wellness hand in hand, growing stronger across the land. Introducing something new, the longevity pack for you. Daily wellness every day, helping keep your best on display. Cellular wellness from within, healthy aging can begin. Energy flowing, feeling bright, morning, noon, and every night. 5 amazing mushrooms lead the way, helping you feel your best each day. Rice to shea taking might take 2. Lion's mane brings focus through. Coriolis joins the team, building wellness like a dream, supporting body, heart, and mind. Healthy aging by design. Energy, clarity, strength you'll see, living life more naturally. Welcome back, we're glad you're here, bringing hope throughout the year. Raise a smile and sing along. Together we are growing strong. Healthy cells and brighter days. Nature works in wondrous ways. Vitality for me and you. The longevity pack comes through. If you'd like to learn some more, visit sheepdogspets.com for sure. Questions? We're happy to help today. Email sheepdogspets@mail.com along the way. The Mushroom Ladies lead with care, sharing nature everywhere. Together we laugh, together we roar. We'll see you soon in the Roar Room once more.
Yeah, there we go. How'd you like that one?
Always a delight.
Woohoo!
Always a delight. I just thank you guys. This makes me feel so good.
starting to think she's just coming back for the songs.
I tell you, I recorded the last one. I've listened to it like 10 times. Now I've got a new one to add to my playlist.
That'll work. Welcome to the War Room, 7/15,
Well,
2026. I want to welcome everybody.
We're
Hope
happy.
everybody's hope everybody's having a good hump day. All right. A lot going on, but as we can see, we got the Mushroom Ladies with us tonight for a few minutes here before we get started. Red Scare event 3.0. We're going to be talking about communism.
it's a hot
Right.
topic
It's
right
a hot
now.
topic. It was a hot topic in the 80s when the seatbelt law was going into play. They thought we were going into communism then. I played that video backstage, and also when they did away with, they used to be able to drink and drive back in the 80s, right?
Yeah.
No, you had no seatbelt. You could have a beer on the way home from work.
Yeah.
And when all those laws went into effect, making them wear a seatbelt, they could no longer drink and drive. Then that was communism to them
They thought it was
in the
communism.
80s.
Yep.
So we're going to go back a little bit tonight after we get done here, and we're going to talk about the Red Scare event. I mean, 3.0 was what we want to call it because we've been here before. We've done this.
It's happened twice.
Yeah. So welcome, ladies.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, you ready to get started?
Heck yeah.
Yes.
All righty. So I'll read my usual. We so appreciate this platform. Thank you so much for having us again. We come just for the songs and to tell about the mushrooms. So thank you, really, thank you. And you all can send any questions or comments or testimonials. We would love to have some testimonials emailed to us at thesheepdogspets@gmail.com. Thank you. We will get to answer any of those that you send. Well, as you all know, our goal is pets' health. However, we do need to stay healthy to take care of our critters. Whether it's a dog, cat, or horse, or a rabbit, they depend on us, right? We are all about the health of our furry family members and their parents. We specialize in mushroom support, nutritional mushroom therapy. Our flagship mushroom products for animals and humans is Coriolus versicolor. With over 400 medical studies, it gives support to the immune system to aid in the most minor condition or the most catastrophic. And this is not a cure. It's not a treatment. It does not heal anything. We are not giving medical or veterinary advice. The immune system gets the support it needs and then goes to work. We want to thank you all for purchasing these chill doggies, and we have some wonderful testimonies from that. So many, and they really helped. So please send us your personal story at thesheepdogspets@gmail.com. Today we're going to share some of our chill doggy testimonies and uses for that. And let me introduce Diana. She is certified in pet health and pet and human CBD and holistic pet care. Thank you, Diana.
Well, thank you, Kim. You're looking awfully great tonight.
Oh, thank you.
You know, it was a really crazy 4th of July. And I have to tell you, the phone rang off the hook on the 5th of July with people thanking this platform and some of the other platforms we're on for the advice of going out and getting chill doggies. It was so heartwarming to hear the stories of people who said, my dog slept through it. My dog laid on the bed and cuddled with us. My dog was calm. The best one I think I got was from a woman who said, we've drugged our dog every single year with medication from the veterinarian. And the dog woke up the next day groggy and not with it. And we felt so bad. But this year with chill doggies, when he woke up the next morning, he was just raring to go. And I love those stories. So please send us any of your testimonials. We're going to talk a little bit today about what you can do now that you still have some chill doggies left to help with dogs that are possibly older or dogs that have dementia. But before we get into the topic of dementia, I just want to touch on the longevity program. We are seeing amazing results. I'm down 10 pounds. We have another podcaster that is down 20 pounds. I have another podcaster that's down 10 pounds. It's working. We're excited about it. And the thing that is so important to us is that this GLP-1 craze is frightening. I mean, they're saying 30 million people will be on this by 2030. And that scares me. I mean, it truly scares me because you can't inject health. And that's what they're doing. They're injecting health. So we would love to hear from all of you about your success stories. If any of you are having any struggles with your longevity program, please get in touch with us at sheepdogspets@gmail.com and let us help you with the protocol. For those of you who aren't aware of our protocol with the longevity health program, it's basically a mushroom weight management program that helps get the body's GLP-1 hormone working naturally instead of having it injected. So we're so excited. Please, please, please. And remember, you know, recently the WHO, World Health Organization, put out a warning that said that if you're on this GLP-1, the likelihood that you're going to think about suicide or possibly act on it goes up by 45%. So a shot that is supposed to make you feel better is making you want to kill yourself. I mean, really, are we really there? So my story is pretty simple, guys. I got involved with mushroom therapy because I was diagnosed with cancer in 2020. I tell this story almost every time and I try to shorten it, but almost every time I tell it, I get a call from someone somewhere in the world who saw either this platform or somewhere else that we were talking, and they called and reached out for hope. What I can say is for the 10 years I've worked with this mushroom, I've not had one person not make it after they've started this protocol. I think that's pretty amazing, but it's not surprising because God put us on this planet with everything we needed. We just didn't know how to use it. I had been working with this mushroom for a few years before I was diagnosed with cancer. And that diagnosis came in February of 2020. My husband and I had both agreed at that point that we wouldn't do chemo, that we would just deal with the cards that were dealt to us. We knew we had this mushroom. We knew we had had success stories. I had never taken it. So I started taking 10 mushroom tablets a day. It's a little capsule that you open it. I opened it and put it in my coffee. This is back in 2020, so I really think I was the one who invented mushroom coffee. Too bad I'm not getting the royalties on it, right? So one thing happened for me in 30 days while I was awaiting approval for a tumor to be removed from my colon. I had gotten a call from my doctor saying, "You've been approved for surgery. Go in to the hospital and have your pre-op blood work done." When I got home, about 14 hours later, I received a message that they wanted to do an emergency video call with me. And, you know, at that point, you don't know what's happening. I mean, I was scared. I didn't know if I was going to live, I was going to die. How sick was I going to be? I mean, it was just a crazy time. And he said, "Diana, what are you doing?" And I remember saying, "Well, Doc, I'm packing a suitcase to go to the hospital. I'm not sure what the question is." And he says, "Honey, you're in remission." And I'll never forget those words because, you know, we hear those words, "Oh, she's in remission," or "Oh, that person's in remission." And we think we know it's good news, but what does it really mean? For me, I didn't know. So I said, "Doctor, what does that mean?" And he said, "Well, it basically means that your cancer numbers have fallen back in line of pre-cancer." Every cancer has some sort of a marker that the oncologist uses to measure if you're getting worse, if you're getting better. In my case with colon cancer, it was called a CEA number. It should have been 2.5. I was in the high teens. When they took my blood that day, it was 0.05. So again, he said, what are you doing? And I said, I'm taking mushrooms. In Japan, this is the first line of defense for cancer. And he said, well, I don't know anything about that. And that kind of broke my heart. He was an oncologist. He should know that. But that doesn't surprise me because they don't want them to know about things that are holistic. They don't want them to know about things that can't be replicated, can't be synthesized, can't be patented. He did say to me, send me everything you have. Don't stop doing what you're doing. I had the tumor taken out. I came through surgery beautifully. And the doctor said, I still want you to do chemo because you have a 40% chance of reoccurrence without chemo. With chemo, 10%. Well, those numbers were kind of like, a little scary. And then I saw a study from Sloan Kettering that said, if you take the Coriolis versicolor mushroom and you're going through chemotherapy, it will complement chemotherapy. Well, that's all I needed to see. I did 6 months of hard chemo. I took the mushroom the entire time. I took 3 times the normal dosage. I didn't throw up. I didn't lose my hair. I didn't look like a cancer patient. I had bad days. I'm not going to say they were all great, but most of my days were pretty good. But here's the part that's so amazing. When I came through this whole journey 1 year later after my diagnosis, every single number, my bone deck scan, my blood work, every number was better than pre-cancer. So how does that happen? When anyone we've ever known has gone through chemotherapy, at the end, they're so depleted. They're so pasty white, gaunt looking, sickly. And then they need a year or 2 years, or as one girl on this platform said a few weeks ago, she needed 5 years to recover. My body, because of the support that this mushroom gives, had rebuilt, repaired, replenished, rejuvenated. And I literally was better than I was pre-cancer. It was crazy. So here I am, 6.5 years later, and I am still 0.05 and thankful to be here and thankful to God for this incredible mushroom that is just here for us to use, right? So we have learned so much about what mushrooms can do, how incredible they are. I mean, they share 40 to 50% of our DNA. Think about that. They breathe in oxygen. They communicate. They're actually their own kingdom. So we're learning more and more every day about what these mushrooms can do. And today we're going to talk about something that's kind of sad, and that is dementia. I lived with a man, my father-in-law, who had severe dementia. My husband and I took care of my father-in-law and my mother for 6 years. I have no idea how we got through those 6 years. And this is a man who was the most kindest, dearest person. He knew us in the morning, but by about noon, he didn't know who we were. He didn't know why he was with us. The only one he recognized was the dog, which is kind of sweet in its own way. But it was a rough time watching somebody suffer and watching somebody lose their mind. Dementia affects 6 million Americans every year. It has more than 100,000 deaths attributed to it every year. We're talking people right now. We know that the estimates were 11 to 14% of all men were going to get dementia, 19 to 23% of women were going to get dementia, but those are old numbers. We now have new numbers that the estimated lifetime risk, 42% of all humans after the age of 55, think about that, will get some sort of dementia. The risk at 75 years old goes up by another 4%. It goes up by 20% after the age of 85. We also know that there's a lot of research about cholesterol and how putting people on statins, and again, we're not giving any medical advice. We're just stating some of the things we've seen and heard and has been written about. Cholesterol and statins, high cholesterol, didn't start happening until, 1970s, 1980s, when all of a sudden the world started talking about, oh, your cholesterol should be this number or this number. Where back in the 50s and 60s, it was, 300 was considered acceptable. All of a sudden, everybody had to be put on a statin. Well, we know now that cholesterol has something to do with keeping the brain clear so that you don't get dementia. So, do your own research on that one. I mean, think about that. How many people are on statins? And now we have a 42% chance of getting dementia.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of scary. For example, we know that if you have statins can affect it also if you take statins. But we also know that if your cholesterol, people with high cholesterol usually don't have dementia. So go figure, right? So now let's talk about canine cognitive disorder, CCD, otherwise known as doggy dementia. Our fur babies are getting dementia at horrible rates. A study recently found that 28% of dogs at the age of 11 or 12 showed signs of canine cognitive dysfunction. We're going to call it doggy dementia. And the number rises to 68% after the age of 15. It's a really sad thing. Now, we don't have our doggies on statin, but we have our dogs on pretty bad food in general. And I think that might have a lot to do with it. I'm also concerned that maybe we're going to find some kind of a link to some of the vaccinations that we're giving our dogs. We know that dementia in dogs increases by 52% each year after they turn 10. Think about that. So, how do you know if your dog has dementia? It's not like we can have them tell us things or talk to us. Like my father-in-law didn't know who we were. So, we knew he had dementia. Here's the things you can look for with a dog. First of all, they get disoriented. Maybe they walk into a familiar place and just stand there. I've seen this. We have a woman with a 16-year-old dog right now that we're helping. And the dog would walk into the living room and just stand there. Like, where am I? Like, it was the saddest thing ever. Behavior changes. Maybe they get a little bit more anxious. Their anxiety increases. Maybe they start changing with their social interaction with you. Maybe they just start barking for no reason. They just start barking, or vocalizing, or whining, or acting scared when there's nothing to be afraid of. Sleep disruption. We will see dogs with dementia where they pace at night. They pace all night and they sleep more during the day. Again, this is a sign that the dog could have dementia. And then house soiling accidents that didn't happen before, bowel movements and or urinating when they normally didn't do that. Sometimes because they just forget. They just forget to go when they have to go, and then it's too late and they go, if you know what I mean. So what can we do for humans with dementia and for our dogs with dementia? Well, let's look at what God's put on this planet. God has put something pretty amazing on this planet called the lion's mane mushroom. Now, this mushroom is being studied like you don't even want to know. Start Googling it. Start learning about it. It's being investigated for its potential to help with things like dementia. Now, the American Medical Association, many, many years ago, always said, in humans, the brain has nothing to do with the immune system, nothing. And they have stood by that and stood by that for decades. But 2 years ago, they finally reversed course and said, the immune system does have something to do with the brain. Bingo, that opened so many doors for people with seizures, dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's disease, neuropathy, so many things that we've been able to now see positive results. I have a gentleman right now that I've been working with for about 5 years. He is in Hawaii. He has severe dementia and Parkinson's. Every 6 months, he gets tested. His Parkinson's numbers were getting worse and worse and worse. His dementia was also getting worse, but he didn't know it, but his family knew it. And usually with dementia, it's the family that knows first what's happening. About 4 years ago, they reached out to us and we started him on our Clarity product. It is the blue bottle. It is lion's mane. We also added immune support with the Coriolis versicolor. We wanted to support his immune system, get his immune system working healthy, and then we wanted to jump in there with some nerve and brain support. So the next time he went in for a test, which was about 4 months later, his Parkinson's hadn't progressed. 4 years. Every time he went in for a test, his Parkinson had progressed. That time it hadn't. We're now 4 more years down the road. So we're 8 years with him dealing with Parkinson's. And in the last 4 years, his numbers have not increased. And his family says they are noticing a huge difference in his cognitive issues. They noticed he's more present in the conversations. He's not forgetting as much. He's not telling stories over and over again. He's not asking the family to repeat things like he was. This is exciting for us. So what does this do? I mean, how is this working? So we'll just say research is showing that the bioactive compounds in lion's mane, it literally helps to promote nerve growth. Think about that. I mean, this is proven now. The nerve growth factor and brain-derived neuropathy factor, which is BDNF, big words, these proteins are critical in the growth and maintenance and survival of nerve cells, also the repair. The lion's mane compounds are being shown to stimulate the synthesis of the nerve growth factor. This is crazy. And the nerve growth factor is often what is impaired in people with dementia. What else does it do? And we'll talk in animals and people too, because it's kind of working the same way with both. It's reducing brain inflammation and oxidative stress. So chronic inflammation and oxidative stress contribute to damage and evidential loss of nerve cells. Like Alzheimer's, we see that this inflammation is a big part of it. So the powerful antioxidant and anti-inflammatory property of the lion's mane may just help protect the neurons from this damage. It's pretty doggone exciting. The other thing it does is it decreases amyloid beta plaques. So in animal modules with Alzheimer's, they're seeing that the lion's mane extracts has been shown to reduce the accumulation of the beta amyloid protein plaques, which is the hallmark of the disease. So my gosh, we're so excited. Also, it is improving neuroplasticity. I knew I was going to get that wrong. Neuroplasticity. I know these big words, but gosh, you guys, how exciting is this? Lion's mane right now is becoming one of the most studied mushrooms. Up until now, the Coriolis versicolor, which is our flagship mushroom, the Enforce product in the green bottle and the yellow bottle, has been the most studied mushroom of all mushrooms, 400 medical studies that are documented. But now what we're seeing this lion's mane mushroom. It's just crazy good stuff. So yeah, the brain mushroom, as someone is saying here. Okay, I can't take mushrooms because of gout. You know, I want you to email me, Truth88 Dennison. Email me because we'll talk about this. Because I have worked very closely with some people with gout and mushrooms, and we'll chat about that. I've also worked with people who have been allergic to mushrooms. And because these are so pure and potent, because the aestheticity of how we harvest them, we're not seeing the same type of reaction as if you just ate a mushroom, even though it's just as if you ate a mushroom. So we'll talk about that one. I know that there's someone on here that said my dad won't take anything. That's sad, but I understand. And if it was my dad, and I'm going to say something that you probably aren't going to like, but I would tell my dad, my father-in-law, when he was living with us, I would say to him when he was in a cognitive moment, Pops, I'm going to ask you to trust me to give you something that could help you. And during his cognitive moment, he probably would have said yes. And then I would just open them and put them in his coffee or put them in something that he eats. We have a lot of people that open the mushrooms, put it in their food, put it on their salad. Well, I mean, no salads these days because of this whole thing that's going on, but they'll put them in their stir fry. I put it in my coffee, like I said. So basically what we're seeing is revolutionary, and we're so excited to share it with you. The clarity mushroom for humans, the chill doggies for our doggies and kitty cats. Oh my gosh, I just absolutely love what we're seeing. Kim, have you heard any testimonials from anybody?
For the lion's mane?
Either.
Clarity? Yes, actually. A Canadian friend got some for herself, and she got some clarity for her uncle who was having dizzy spells. And she said he took it, and within that day, he noticed that the dizzy spells were going away. And I don't think he's had one since. So,
Wow.
he
Well,
wanted to order some more. And he was very like, no, I ain't going to do that. But he asked her to order him some more. So,
well, I was talking to a gentleman the other day who was in his mid 80s, and he was kind of cute. He said, I came from the Haight-Ashbury days. I was a hippie, and we did shrooms. We dropped acid. He started talking about all this stuff that they did back in the day, in the 50s, 60s, 60s more so. And he was concerned that he did not want to take magic mushrooms. And so I did explain to him how there is a difference of functional mushrooms and the psychedelic mushrooms, and that this is certainly a functional medicinal mushroom, not a psychedelic mushroom, and that he didn't have to worry about, having a bad trip or anything that he was talking about. And I think that there are people out there, especially the ones that are over 75, that still believe everything their doctor tells them. And I was just having a conversation with a dear friend tonight who, I said, look, your doctor is not a chemist. Your doctor does not understand how all of these medications interact with each other. The only person that can help you with that is a pharmaceutical expert, like a chemical pharmacist. Your doctor only knows what the pharmaceutical rep who took them to lunch and wined and dined them told them about this drug. And sometimes, we have to help them by showing them some studies. Google lion's mane, Google some of the things that are out there. Not that Google is always right, but there are tons of studies showing how incredible this mushroom is and what it can do to keep us healthy, keep our brain active and healthy. And then along with the Coriellus versicolor supporting your immune system, which remember, they've now linked the immune system to the brain. It's a win-win on both sides. It says you see codes when you take the good mushrooms. Okay. I've never taken those, so I don't know. But I can tell you something about the clarity mushroom. When you start taking the clarity mushroom, there are some things that will happen. You will notice that you are so much sharper. It is crazy how much sharper you are cognitively. I have a podcaster friend who right 2 hours before his podcast pops a couple of these because he said it just keeps him on track. I noticed when I started taking these that at nighttime when I went to sleep, I was having these very colorful, vivid, memorable dreams. Not bad dreams, just dreams. And I don't remember my dreams being so vivid as they are when I take the clarity mushroom. And it's funny because obviously something's happening in my mind. Obviously, or I wouldn't be having these vivid dreams that are so realistic and so easy to remember. That hasn't happened to me I don't even know if it's ever happened to me until I started taking the clarity. Are you taking the clarity, Kim?
yes.
And have you
I'm taking all of them. Yes, here lately I have, yeah.
Because you just started recently on the longevity pack, right?
Yeah, it's probably been a month or two. Yeah.
And how are you doing on it?
Really good. I don't know, a little bit more energy, and the dreams, yes. I'm not remembering them as well, but I know that I'm dreaming. So,
Wow.
whereas before it was like, did I dream last night?
Yeah,
So,
that's kind of. I never even thought about my dreams. It wasn't even something I thought about because until I started taking the clarity, and then it was just like, whoa. And then my husband and I have these conversations all the time because he takes 2 clarity a day as well as I do, and he said, yeah, I had this dream, and he'll tell me all about the dream with all these details. And we've been together 30 years. I don't remember us ever having these kind of conversations about our dreams. So it's kind of cool. So in closing, the sheepdogs do so much for us. They put together these shows. They work hard. They make these amazing songs, Nadine and the whole crew. We need to support them. And by supporting sheepdogspets.com, not only are you going to be wonderful pet parents and take such good care of your animals as well as yourself, you are going to support this platform. We do a portion of the sales do go to support this platform. And, why not support the people that are working for you instead of the big box stores? Why not support the people that are busting their butts to make sure that you guys stay informed instead of the box stores? I mean, are the box stores doing anything for you guys right now? I don't think so. And we are disrupting the pet industry. We have great products that are all natural, that are based in nature, that will help your fur babies and yourself. So many things. And we do free consultation. If any of you have anything going on that you would like to hear more about, some of the testimonials, we can send you in the right direction to see where those are from people who might be having some of the same issues you're dealing with, whether it's small things like rheumatoid arthritis or things as catastrophic as what I was dealing with. We have testimonials, we have studies, we have things that we can send you to, and we can do some consultation with you at sheepdogspets@gmail.com. So share today's link with anyone that you know that may have a loved one that's dealing with cognitive issues, dementia, Alzheimer's. First of all, I would love to help them. I spent 6 years helping my father-in-law. I've got some great books that you can read. I've got some great ideas for a book you can put together for them that will help them and help you get through it, because the person who has dementia doesn't know what they're doing to the people who don't have the dementia. It's the most horrible thing to watch somebody go through. And the same thing with our pups. I mean, if anybody has ever known a dog with dementia, it's really sad to watch this poor little being be confused, and you can't explain to him what's going on, or her. So for all you animal lovers out there, share this. For all you people lovers out there, share this. Let's get some more viewers for the sheepdogs. They deserve it for everything they do. I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. and Mrs. Sheepdog. Or Kim, do you have anything you would like to add to this?
I do remember a friend of mine was having some issues, depression and anxiety, and she actually had some suicidal tendencies. And I was telling her about the clarity, and she got it and took it. And then I think after that ran out, she's like, well, I'm just going to get this one over here. And she ordered a different one. She came back to me several months later and said, I could tell a huge difference in the clarity and in the other ones that I got. She didn't want to tell me that she'd gotten some other one, but she said I could really tell. And she's pretty aware. So I was very glad to hear her testimony on that.
It's very sad. I just saw Jenny Leslie say, I cannot afford this product. And that breaks my heart, because so many people in this country, well, in the world, are in a position where they're living paycheck to paycheck, and maybe they don't have any extra income. We do have an affiliate program. So I bring this up because I had someone 2 months ago tell me they couldn't afford the product for their senior dog who was doing so badly. And we started him on the affiliate program. He talked to about 7 or 8 of his friends who also had animals. Next thing you know, he got his first affiliate check, and it was enough to pay for the dogs and his product for the next month. And he was so happy. So Leslie Lee, if you'd like to talk to us about the affiliate program, maybe we can help you so you can afford to keep the dog in the lifestyle he has gotten accustomed to, and or yourself. But Kim brings up a really good point. Our products, we didn't just start this. Our company has been working with mushrooms for over 20 years. Kim has been with the company for about 4 years now, and I'm years working with this. We didn't just start this. We know that our product is not the same price as the product that you're going to go find at the big box stores, but we also know that our product is the strain that has the highest potency. And the story that Kim just shared is not uncommon, that we'll hear people say, oh, I went to this box store and I bought it for, a third less, started taking it, and guess what? My numbers went right back up. And we have seen that happen more than once. And so, of course, they went right back onto our product, and next thing you know, his numbers went right back down to where they needed to be. So, Mr. and Mrs. Sheepdog, thank you. Jenny, Leslie, why don't you reach out to myself or Kim, and we'll see if we can help you with this. I hate to hear of someone who's struggling and just can't take something they need. Mr. and Mrs. Sheepdog, anything you'd like to add to this? And how are the puppies?
Oh, they're getting
15 days old.
chunky. They're so cute. They just opened their eyes.
Oh,
Yeah.
about
So
how big are they inches wide? I've seen the pictures, but I have nothing to compare it to. Like, how long are they?
How long do you think?
About as big as your hand.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, they're tiny.
Yeah, they're tiny and they're chubby. They're so cute. But they got their eyes open. I tried to take a picture, but they sleep so much. They sleep almost all day, so it's hard.
And how's Mama doing?
She's doing good. She does real good.
Oh,
Yeah, she goes in there, feeds them, and then comes out. And yeah, so she's
She's
but when you go,
relaxing a little bit. She was pretty protective there at the beginning.
yeah,
Oh.
she
First
still
week or
is.
so.
When
I mean, she's still got the motherly instincts,
Yeah.
but she's relaxing a little bit.
when it gets to be when they're about 7 to 8 weeks old, that's the really fun time. Like between 6 and 8 weeks old is when the mom really starts teaching them things, and that is so much fun to watch. I mean, because they learn a lot from Mama during those times. That's why you never want to take the pups away from Mama before they're 8 weeks old, because there's so many things Mom teaches them, and that's when it gets really fun, because they're aware and she's aware, and she doesn't take any of their crap from them at that point. It's kind of fun to watch.
Yep.
So have any of you ever experienced a dog with dementia, or do you know a human with dementia that you've ever had to deal with?
I've got a friend that has it, and it's hard to do. It's hard to even see in a short period of time. I cannot imagine trying to be there 24/7. It's
the hardest
scary.
thing my husband and I ever did. We literally, we look back on those days and we thank God that we were in a position that we were able to take care of. We called him Wild Bill, but it was the hardest thing we ever did. A person who loves you and thinks you're the best thing in the world when they wake up, and by the time noon comes, they don't know who you are. And my husband had to catheterize my father-in-law 4 times a day. So you want to even talk about something that got even uglier. My poor husband would come out of the bathroom in tears just flowing down his face, because his father would say such mean things to him, like, what are you doing this to me for? Why are you doing this? No man does this to another man. I mean, it was just the saddest thing in the world. To watch a person who was so incredible at one time in their life just go down to be a shell of themselves.
I wouldn't want to keep on living if that was me. I would just.
Well, he didn't know. I mean, honestly, he didn't know. So, that's the one saving grace about anyone here who's dealing with someone with dementia. They don't know. There's an incredible book called The 36-Hour Day. Anyone who is dealing with a loved one or a friend with dementia should read the book. It's very short. It's an easy read, but it really helps you to understand how they don't know what they're doing and they don't understand. And it helps to make it a little easier on you. Like, I know my brother-in-law would say, Dad, don't you remember we just had that conversation? Well, No, he doesn't remember. So why would you say that to him? So there's so many things that we learned and helped us through what we dealt with for 6 years. But, if we could just figure out what's going on and help these people with their nerve growth in their brain, with their immune system to possibly fight this until big pharma and everybody else comes clean with what we're learning about cholesterol levels and what's really causing dementia and Alzheimer's and why it's so prevalent right now when it wasn't before. We just have to be proactive.
Yep. And get rid of the country crock.
Right.
I'm telling you. Yeah. Well, we appreciate the opportunity to share. Please reach out to us at sheepdogspets@gmail.com. We'll be happy to help. And we're going to turn the show back over to the best people in the world, the sheepdogs. And Nadine.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Diana.
you.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
All righty, guys. So we got Red Scare 3.0 is the title of the show. We got before we get into that, we got July 17th at a rare 6 planet alignment, right? So also some people are talking about a more active what you call it, comets and stuff like that coming in.
Yes.
So they say,
So they say.
right? You got Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune will all be visible in the evening sky. So that'll be this weekend, right? So 15th, 16th, yeah. So starting tomorrow night. So the planets won't actually form a perfect straight line.
Right? Is it visible?
Do what?
Is it going to be visible?
What? I
No,
know,
sometimes
right?
you
I don't
can't see
know.
it.
With the weather the way it's been,
Yeah.
right? They've been blocking the. So we have flooding events in Texas, right? Missouri, several other states,
Yeah.
maybe even Tennessee, I believe. What else? So the Red Scare, there we go. So I want to do a reminder on that. We'll do another reminder Friday. We'll have a show.
Yes.
All right, here we go. All right, Red Scare, Red
Yeah,
Scare.
we're bringing up the Red Scare because
Why are we bringing
I
up the Red
noticed
Scare?
constantly especially on Facebook, they've been posting the Muslims are bringing in
Communism.
communists, socialists. I see it so much, right?
That's
that
because Trump said it. That's because
remind me of something in history. This has
because
happened twice.
Trump brought it up at the his 4th of July speeches. He brought it up a couple times.
Yes. Yeah, he said they want communism. Communism never works, right? That's what he said.
Right, and that's why I went back to this video from 1980. They thought they were going into communism here whenever they told them that they couldn't drink or drive or look, she's opening a can of beer right there in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
And then you're going to make them put on a seatbelt? That was communism to them in 1980, 86.
What communism is. It's state controlled, right?
Mm-hmm.
Any attempt to restrict drinking and driving here is viewed by some as downright undemocratic.
It's kind of getting communist when a fella can't put in a hard day's work, put in 11, 12 hours a day, and then get in your truck and at least drink 1 or 2 beers.
They're making it laws where you can't drink when you want to. You have to wear a seatbelt when you're driving. And pretty soon we're going to be a communist country.
There you go.
Pretty soon we're going to be a
Pretty
communist
soon.
country.
Here we are, 20, 30 years later, 40.
Right. So I want to. Are you still playing it? I was going to read again what communism means, right? So communism is a political and economic ideology built around common ownership, no social classes, and the eventual disappearance of the state. So common ownership. All major means of production, factories, lands, and resources are owned collectively rather than privately. Kind of sounds familiar here. Classless society, no division between workers and owner, no exploitation of the labor, no private property. Personal belongings remain, but productive property, business land, and land is used for profit. Doesn't that sound like what we have now? Is not privately owned. Distribution based on need. Goods are allocated according to what people need, not what they can pay. State eventually disappears. Once class conflict ends, the government becomes unnecessary and fades away. So there's forms of socialism here already, like Social Security,
SNAP,
Medicare,
Medicare.
all that's a form of socialism. We have a form of communism, because even though they say we have private property, if you don't pay your taxes, they can take it. If you have an easement from utilities, right, they can do what they want on your property. If the government decides they want to take your property because they need to build a freeway there or something,
Data center up the road.
or data center, they can do that, and they have to compensate you, but they can just take your property. That's a form of communism, right? And then how we keep giving the president more and more power, that's a form of communism. When it's supposed to be left to the states, the federal government was supposed to be very, very small, right? So we have a form of capitalism, socialism, and communism. So they're trying to scare you with that when it's kind of what has already been happening, right? So we're going to go into the Red Scare and how McCarthy was saying that there was communists within the government, which could have been true. So Joseph McCarthy was most famously claimed the communists had infiltrated the U.S. government, especially the State Department, and later expanded his accusations to other federal agencies, the military, and even the press. McCarthy said the communists were State Department employees. This was the core of McCarthy's claim in 1950, Wheeling, West Virginia speech. He said he had a list of 205 communists working in the State Department. He later changed the number to 81 and then 57, but never provided verified names. Other federal government officials, McCarthy broadened his accusation to include officials in various federal agencies, employees of the government, printing office, members of the diplomatic corps, U.S. Army personnel. By 1953 through 54, McCarthy claimed the U.S. Army had harbored communist subservies. This led to the televised Army McCarthy hearing, which ultimately exposed his tactics and contributed to his downfall. So there was also sympathizers for McCarthy that they said that they would accuse you of being a sympathizer. People were deported, they were arrested, they lost their jobs because of this. So it was people in the academics, government contractors, cultural figures. So the question is, was McCarthy correct and they shut him up? Or did he make it up?
All right. So Mike Johnson says that the Pentagon is requesting an additional $350 billion for things like fighting communism here in America. Yeah, $350 billion.
There is now a resurgence of the communist menace in our land. Communism is a loser, and it always will be. The communists, they want to destroy our country. We're not going to let that happen. You know, they say social democrats. No, social democrat is a communist.
Communists? We're talking about communists? Who's a communist? Me? You? Him? People. What are we talking about here? Come on now. Y'all know better than that. What are we doing? It's crazy. Calling someone a communist may have resonated, I don't know, 70 years ago when the Soviet Union and the Cold War were the thing. But in 2026, sorry, not buying. But Trump needs a new boogie monster to strike fear in the minds of citizens because he has nothing else to offer you except what he's already offered. And what's that? Inflation, high gas prices, untenable grocery bills. You've seen the price of beef, unaffordable homes, and of course, a war that he started. So he targets Bernie Sanders, AOC, Mayor Mamdani, and others who are democratic socialists. Well, let's understand what we're talking about here. Communism is not simply public welfare programs and progressive taxation. It is the concentration of political and economic power in the hands of the state, directed by a ruling party that rewards its allies, punishes its opponents, subordinates independent institutions and thought, and controls major sectors of economic life. Hell, folks, I've just described the first 18 months of the Trump administration. So to go after progressives, democratic socialists, makes little sense in the old Soviet context. But hey, y'all know the real Red Scare. I don't have to tell you that. You know it every time you check what's in your bank account.
There is now a resurgence of the communist
account.
Right.
The Red Scare, right?
Yeah, and the red.
They're in the red, right? They don't
Yeah.
know money.
This is not a game. If they promise you free, this is not a game. Everybody needs to understand these crazy little mini Mamdanis who are popping up all around the country. They are a danger to you and your family.
This is the guy that sends billions of dollars to foreign countries.
Right.
This is not a game. If they promise you free stuff, there is far more beneath those promises that even some of these people do not understand themselves. And so we are here as the Republican Party to stand on the founding principles of the greatest nation in the history of the world.
And we're going to keep sending your money overseas.
And they did that with
And-
Social Security,
And he's
Medicare,
worried about
Medicaid. They've already done that to us.
he's worried about giving free shit away, but he wants to offer he wants to give the Pentagon $350 billion.
Right.
It is our duty to.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't it crazy that they don't have anything for the people, but they got shit for the Pentagon
Crazy.
and for the military? You get it? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They give us free vaccines. Did the communists put needles in our arms? No, I don't think so. Okay.
Do that. And we're doing it on behalf of all of you, even the journalists who don't agree with our policies all the time. You better agree on these principles, because it's what keeps you free. By the way, it's what keeps the press free, okay? This is essential for your well-being and your family. That's
fear porn, ain't it? Be scared of the people offering you shit free?
Not a game. This is
Right.
While we give the Pentagon $350 billion more dollars.
There's always a string to it. And the government offers you something free.
Oh yeah, there's definitely.
He isn't lying about that, but they've been doing that.
Yeah, like military members, right? When they get out, they get free healthcare, free college, and you also get a disability if you so choose to go down that route.
Right.
This is not our father.
That's all free. I mean, you got to serve 4 years in the military, but
Democrat Party. This is not.
it's still socialism,
Yes.
right? A form of it.
We're not arguing over marginal tax rates anymore. We're arguing over whether or not freedom is going to survive.
If somebody wants to give us to people something for free, now we got to worry. But yet he wants to send. They want $350 billion for fighting communism now. Isn't that counterproductive? He's saying they're going to give shit away for free, and then he turns around and gives $350 billion away for free.
How do you exactly use
Are we in
$350
a
billion
crime war?
to fight communism? How do you do that?
I don't
Like,
know,
what's
but
the
it's what else?
plan? What's the plan, Stan?
It's like a scam.
Yeah, it is a scam.
It's like
Right?
it's like us paying more at the gas pump to make sure Iran doesn't get a nuke, which means
Yeah.
what? Iran doesn't have a nuke. If Iran doesn't have a nuke, who are we paying to make sure they don't have a nuke? If they don't have one.
We're giving the cops some more money for their retirement. The cop
Yeah.
tax, the gas tax.
That's a good point. Most people don't know about the gas tax.
No. Not my cops. Not my politicians. Yeah, you're freaking politician. Yes, you're cops.
So
Think
he
they don't
bitches
know?
He bitches and complains about communism and socialism, and then actually turns around and participates in communism and socialism.
Yeah, that's what they've been doing. We
Okay.
all have.
So this is the single greatest advertisement for socialism and communism right here, like Power to the People said. An economy where workers own the means of production is such a threat to the ruling class that they're willing to spend billions to stop you from owning a piece of the pie.
Hmm.
That's just like in uh, Libya, Gaddafi. The people of the country got 10% of the oil sales.
Yeah, they got dividends.
They got dividends. They got 10% of the oil sales.
And oil.
College was paid for,
So
even if
that
they.
would be a form of socialism.
But they don't want y'all to have a cut. They just want to rape the land, keep all the profits, and then charge you $5 at the
No,
pump.
they want capitalism.
Right.
Where it's like
Where the billionaires stay on the top, and so then you have your middle class. Well, there's no more middle class. It's kind of like lower. Well, everybody's kind of blended in now. There really isn't nobody. We're all in the same class, it seems like, whether you realize that or not. But here we go.
So the question was, can you list the specifics of what the request is for?
So I'm playing this because this is why we're going to be going into these topics, because they're trying to do the Red Scare event, Red Scare 3.0, and that's why Trump said he loves the poorly uneducated. They're easy to manipulate and scare. They don't do no research or fact checking. They just trust in everything he says.
And if you don't learn history, you're doomed
to repeat it.
right?
Yeah, it's like a loop.
We don't want to go through that again.
Right.
So the question was, can you list the specifics of what the request is for the Pentagon? We've seen it's over $350 billion as a request, and some of this is transformational kind of funding that will help us change the dynamic of the Department of War and make it more efficient and effective. It's already the greatest fighting force on the planet, not even close. But there are some ideas, a real vision on how to improve that even further, to bolster that. You've heard the president talk about how he wants to effectively double the funding for national defense. Look, we live in dangerous times. We're fighting communism on our own shores, and we're fighting evil terrorists and tyrants around the world. And we have.
They're fighting evil terrorists and tyrants around the world while simultaneously making this tyrannical police surveillance state here in America. We're supposed to be concerned about everything taking place somewhere else while they're putting the boot on us here.
Take care of our own first.
Right.
Clean your house first, right?
But they need 350 more billion with a B.
Wow, his eyes.
Like Austin.
Yeah.
Austin Powers, Dr. Evil.
You could see his eyes, how he doesn't believe a word he's saying.
And man, he's a used car salesman, dude. He'll sell you a lemon real quick. Politicians are something else, man. They can lie to your face, and they can sleep good at night still.
When you can see the ugly behind it, like you can see their demon come out, like it's weird.
So they need 350 more billion. Pentagon does. I would say, look, guys, go back and do an audit, because you got $2.3 trillion missing. Remember when Rumsfeld came out on September 10th and made the announcement in 2001 that there was 2.3 trillion missing? I think y'all need to start looking under the couches and in the cushions and shit, start finding out where that money's at. I don't think you need $350 more billion to fight an invisible enemy. Look what you guys did during the COVID scamdemic during Operation Warp Speed. Right? How much money was printed up and the economy inflated? $6.2 trillion. CARES Act. Right? That Trump blames on Biden. That's why we're in an inflated economy. Did you know that in the last 10 years we've doubled the national debt from 20 trillion to 40? Do you know what that did to your dollar? Do you know we pay $1 trillion in interest a year on that? 40 trillion. But yet we ain't got money for free shit. Like, we don't have nothing for the people. We don't have nothing for you, but we got something for war. We got something for missiles and bombs and all that other shit, right? Right? World domination. Right? While we bleed you dry and have you cheering on because of lack of knowledge. We've been informed of all the stuff that they tell you to fear already, guys. So don't fear it. And that's what they're trying to do here. That's why that's the new talking point. If they say the same thing over and over, it eventually becomes the truth. That's
And
how the
it
MK
becomes your reality.
that's how the MK Ultra program is still operating right there in your face. Right. So if you're told that we got to do this so Iran doesn't get this or that over and over and over and over and over when it wasn't an issue the last 50 years, Iran hasn't attacked another country since the 1700s. Right.
Wouldn't it be great if all the MAGA accounts were like, give them the nukes, give them the nukes, I'm keeping our dough. They're just like, fuck it, let them do it. Give it to them. Let's see what they do. And then all of a sudden, nobody gets any nukes anyway, and we get to keep our, well, no, we don't get to keep our money. They'll find something else to spend it on through slush funds and all that.
Yep.
Hold on, are these?
Yeah. So there you go. So
That video.
here it is. This is the new talking points coming from the MK Ultra. That's why they just repeat the new ones. And then what happens is you'll see people that heard Trump's speech, or they'll see the talking points coming from their Republican Party politicians, and then you'll see other people on other social media platforms repeating what they're hearing.
Yeah.
They just repeat it. You got to be a free thinker, guys. Why is communism? Why is all of a sudden it's a hot topic? All right. Well, we're going to get into that.
So recently, Trump has reposted or retweeted or retruthed, I don't know what you call it anymore, a video of somebody else's where this person is calling for the arrest and deportation of certain left-wing individuals. Now, this being said, I thought it was a good idea to come in here and talk to you a little bit about what Red Scare is and how this has played out in the past. So, Red Scare is the fear of anti-capitalism, leftism in general, communism, left-wing ideas, right? And it's been used, the weird fear tactics and the propaganda around it. It's been used to shut down unionist movements consistently across the board, and during two specific parts of time, the Palmer raids, and then later in the 40s, the Palmer raids in 1919, and then in the 40s we had the McCarthy era, which is the second Red Scare. So the first Red Scare, the Palmer raids, you had folks coming after the IWW, a lot of unionists. They arrested people like Eugene Debs. They came after Mother Jones, Elizabeth Gurley Flynn, Big Bill Haywood, a lot of people that we owe a lot of our labor rights to. A lot of these kind of people that they arrested and targeted, right? And we're talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people being deported and arrested for not having nothing more than a red union card. Now, 1940s, right? We had another big Red Scare happening, and a lot of people refer to this era as the McCarthy era. And during the McCarthy era, we were dragging left-wing individuals in front of the House and asking them, what political affiliations do you have? Are you really a communist? Tell us the names of other people you've seen at meetings and stuff like that. And pretty much we're talking about people, again, who have never actually done anything wrong. We're talking about thought crimes. People who just didn't believe in capitalism quite the same as everybody else, or they thought that we should have some socialist kinds of, policy here or there. Now, the question I'm going to ask you here is, knowing what we know about the other Red Scares, and I don't want to scare anybody saying this, because I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form that I think that this is going to happen. I'm just playing hypothetical here because I'm curious as to what other people think. So, no alarmist here, don't freak out. But if a third Red Scare were to happen today, do you think that modern day liberals, meaning the corporate Democrats, right? Not the DSA Democrats, but the corporate Democrats, do you think that they would jump on board with this? Because the first time that this happened, during the first Red Scare, it was a liberal administration that put this through. During the second Red Scare, they jumped right on board with the McCarthyists to kick the left in the shins. And they especially went after Jewish groups during the second McCarthy era because the Communist Party had such a huge boom in Jewish membership at that time, like during the Second World War. So they specifically went after Jewish groups too. So I'm just kind of curious if anybody thinks that they would do the same during a third Red Scare. Would they or would they not? I'm just curious as to what you think. Now.
Y'all got the channel name on there? Y'all know who that is, right? That's the Spoon Lady.
Yeah, that's the Spoon Lady.
That's the Spoon Lady that does this song right here. Y'all know? Everybody heard the Spoon Lady? That's the Spoon Lady. We just heard her video right here. Here she is. She's on TikTok.
Being said, I thought it was a good idea to come in here and talk to you.
She goes over history and old books. Pretty good information.
So she was talking about the Red Scare, the brainwashing of America. Right. Here we go.
At long last. In August of 1945, Japan surrendered to the Allied forces, and the Second World War came to an end. Americans, both rich and poor, black and white, immigrant and native-born, flooded onto the streets to celebrate not just a military victory, but the promise of a better world, free of fascism and injustice. At last, it seemed they had earned their fair share of the future. Young men returned from the Pacific and Europe,
Right. So now keep in mind, this is not long after this is when all your intelligence agencies were set up after Operation Paperclip. Right. The CIA.
Yeah, they brought all the Germans over here.
And they told us we won the war, but yet they brought in all the Nazis over here. We'll go into that with it because this is a very, very important period in time right here, and there's two different timelines, I believe, right, based on what took place after the war and then what we were told.
Stepped off trains and ships and walked back to their communities, their neighborhoods, their families. They kissed their children, reunited with sweethearts, and began to believe that their sacrifices had bought something lasting. Across the country, unions were strong, wages were rising, working families were buying homes, sending kids to college, building a future that seemed, for the first time, truly within reach. Because for over a decade, thanks to the New Deal legislation of President Roosevelt and progressives in Congress, the balance of power had been tilting toward the working class. But even before the gun smoke cleared and the cheers died down, the capital class, in their boardrooms and banks, were already developing a different plan for America. They remembered the sit-down strikes of the 30s. They remembered Roosevelt calling them economic royalists. "I welcome their hatred," Roosevelt had said in 1936. "I should like to have it said of my first administration that in it, the forces of selfishness and of lust for power met their match." But now the war abroad was over, and Roosevelt was dead. America's ruling class would redouble its efforts to sabotage the organized American working class. Their weapon of choice, as usual, would be fear. To this end, the Red Scare was bred and born. When the war ended, American workers didn't just return home. They returned organized. Veterans rejoined unions. Women brought wartime solidarity back into peacetime workplaces. 1 in 3 Americans belonged to a union. And in 1946, a labor miracle happened. Over 4.3 million workers across the country went on strike, the largest strike wave in U.S. history. Steel, auto, shipping, meatpacking, workers from all industries stood united against post-war inflation, stagnant wages, and high corporate profits. They had built this country up from the Great Depression, fought in the world's most terrible war, and now demanded their share of the prosperity. But to the corporate elite, these people weren't patriots. They were problems. The New Deal had shown what a united working class could achieve. Now, with the war over and Roosevelt gone, business leaders wanted their factories, their political power, and their record profits back. After the Bolshevik Revolution in 1917, the pro-capital government of the United States had intervened in Russia's civil war on the side of their aristocracy. At home, the American government targeted immigrants, anarchists, and labor organizers. 30 years later, with the specter of the Soviet Union back in the center of America's consciousness, it didn't take much effort to dust off that old scapegoat of communism and plant it in the front yard where everyone could see it. Once again, they framed union strikes as sabotage. They called organizers radicals, socialists, subversives. They claimed the real threat wasn't inequality or corporate greed, it was the spread of communism. Roosevelt's wife, Eleanor, tried to warn America. Fear-mongering and hysteria will only serve to further divide our nation. We must approach the Red Scare with rationality and evidence, rather than succumbing to mass panic. In the 1946 midterm elections, with turnout low, economic anxiety high, and fear of Soviet aggression rising, Republicans seized control of Congress for the first time since before the Great Depression. Their campaign slogan had been a simple question: had enough? And in 1947, they delivered a legislative blow that would change American labor forever. President Truman described the legislation as shocking and vowed to veto it when it reached his desk. But with the support of conservative Democratic defectors, Republicans overrode his veto and passed the Taft-Hartley Act. The act banned solidarity strikes, meaning unions couldn't legally support one another. It allowed states to pass right-to-work laws designed to drain unions of funding and cohesion. It gave the president the power to require an 80-day cooling-off period before a strike could take place. And it forced union leaders to sign anti-communist affidavits just to access basic labor protections. The Taft-Hartley Act was written by the employers for the employers. The National Association of Manufacturers, the same companies who had fought against child labor laws and workplace safety, were now pouring millions into anti-union propaganda. Media barons like William Randolph Hearst and Robert McCormick ran editorials smearing union leaders as un-American. Politicians labeled striking workers as subversives. Even veterans and school teachers weren't safe from suspicion. And it wasn't just...
So we see the same tactics, calling people un-American and they don't love America,
Right.
It's about
Start calling you a communist now, too.
profits. It wasn't just about selling papers. It was about pushing a narrative that equated loyalty to capitalism with loyalty to America. The message was clear. If you stood up too tall for workers' rights, you weren't an American. Senator Joseph McCarthy of Wisconsin was not a brilliant man. He wasn't powerful, he wasn't respected. And with no legislative...
Can you imagine that reverse psychology that the billionaires were using on poor people? If you stand up for yourself and your workers, you're un-American.
You're un-American.
Despicable. It's
as they cash in on your backs.
Accomplishments to
it. That's what fear does to you. Like, you need your way of life, and you'll do anything to keep it.
Yeah.
And most people don't realize that they're being used as pawns. And when I see people that don't have a pot to piss in and take up for a billionaire, I'm like, do you realize that that you've been programmed to repeat and not even think about what you're actually saying?
Exactly.
At the expense of yourself.
Rights, you weren't an American. Senator Joseph McCarthy of Wisconsin was not a brilliant man. He wasn't powerful, he wasn't respected. And with no
that's most of it.
Legislative accomplishments to his name, no core beliefs, no real future in politics, he needed a way to stand out before the 1952 re-election cycle. And in 1950, he found his calling. Standing in front of a Republican women's group in Wheeling, West Virginia, McCarthy waved a piece of paper and made a claim that would catapult him to national fame. I have here in my hand a list of 205 known communists working in the State Department. He didn't have a list. The list was never produced. No one on it was ever convicted of espionage. But the truth is never important to men like McCarthy. What he lacked in evidence, he made up for in spectacle. He turned Senate hearings into show trials. He smeared diplomats, teachers, and military officers alike, anyone who could be accused, however loosely, of having committed the thought crime of being a communist or even of associating with a communist. McCarthy didn't build the Red Scare. He simply strapped himself to it and went along for the ride. The House Un-American Activities Committee had been active since the 1930s. Anti-labor propaganda had been circulating for years. The FBI, under J. Edgar Hoover, had been surveilling citizens long before McCarthy stepped onto the stage. What made McCarthy different was his shamelessness, and that level of shamelessness would prove very useful in the class war. He gave the corporate elite a convenient villain in their war against organized labor. He gave frightened politicians a way to look tough without addressing real problems like inequality, racism, or labor unrest. He gave right-wing media a circus that sold newspapers and crushed dissent. And he wasn't alone. Behind him were very smart, very ambitious men.
All right, who is that?
Roy Cohen.
Who's
That's
this?
Trump's mentor.
It's Trump's mentor, Roy Cohen.
He sounds kind of like Trump.
What are the odds?
Doesn't he?
What
like
are the
calling
odds?
the people out, not even caring what anybody thinks. Calling everyone different names. Right?
Ambitious men. Roy Cohn, a young, ruthless attorney, taught McCarthy the same truth-indifferent media tactics he would later teach Donald Trump in the early 70s. J. Edgar Hoover funneled him secret files to smear political opponents while publicly denying any connection to the man.
Wait, so now we know who's blackmailing politicians.
Yeah.
It's not somebody in another country. It's the FBI. If J. Edgar Hoover was doing it, what do you think is going on now?
Oh yeah, that during that Red Scare
Look.
is they enhanced the surveillance on, which they already were doing, but they enhanced it and it never went away.
Doesn't he look like the guy that's leading the border security? What's his name?
Holman.
He looks like Tom Homan, doesn't he? Is this Tom Homan's? Is he related? Maybe. Yeah, it looks just like Tom Homan. Anyways, so blackmail was being used all the way back in the 50s by the FBI. Holy shit! Here we go.
Hoover funneled him secret.
No wonder why nobody's going to jail. They need to blackmail for leverage.
Files to smear political opponents while publicly denying any connection to the man. To conservative publishers and donors, McCarthy was a wrecking ball aimed at solidarity, progress, and working class power. He made Americans afraid to speak, to organize, and he had the full faith and backing of a capital class that would rather destroy democracy than share in its prosperity. Long before cable news, before TikTok and YouTube, Hollywood was America's most powerful engine of public imagination. Movies didn't just entertain people, they shaped how we saw the world and how we saw each other. And in the 1930s and early 40s, some of those movies told inconvenient truths about our nation. Films like The Grapes of Wrath, Modern Times, and I'm a Fugitive from a Chain Gang didn't just pull at heartstrings, they pulled back the curtain on inequality, corruption, and class power. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington was especially derided by politicians upon its release in 1939. They claimed the film brought Washington into disrepute. Yeah, it was this film that tarnished your reputation, and not your constant betrayals of the working class to line your own pockets. Movies like these made working people visible. They made poverty political. They made injustice feel like something we could and should fight. So in 1947, the House Un-American Activities Committee turned its attention to Hollywood. They feared that Hollywood's portrayals of economic injustice and worker solidarity would inspire sympathy for unions and socialists. Actors, directors, and especially screenwriters were hauled in front of Congress, not for committing crimes, but for committing the thought crime of having once supported leftist ideas or associating with people who had. The message was simple: name names or your career is over. 10 refused.
Was that a real name on there? At the hearing?
Who had. The message was simple: name names or your career is a crime of having once.
Oh, Dalton Trumbo. Okay. I'm like, man, I know that didn't say Donald Trumbo.
Trumbo was a movie I put in the chat on the wall a few weeks ago. I'll go grab that. That was a really good movie.
Oh wow.
It must have
Okay.
been about this guy. Yeah. Dalton,
probably.
yes.
Yep. I'll check it out. If you could
supported leftist ideas or associating with people who had. The message was simple: name names or your career is over. 10 refused to cooperate, citing their First Amendment rights. They became known as the Hollywood 10. They were blacklisted, fined, imprisoned, and banned from working in the industry that they had helped build. One of them, Dalton Trumbo, would continue to write scripts under a pseudonym. One of his films, 1953's Roman Holiday, would go on to win several Oscars, but Trumbo's name wouldn't appear on the credits until the DVD release 50 years later. And it didn't stop with HUAC stepping all over the First Amendment. The studio bosses as well were no friends to the working class. Men like Jack Warner of Warner Brothers and Louis B. Mayer of MGM didn't necessarily believe in censorship, but they did believe in profit. And protecting their companies meant handing over employee files and enforcing loyalty oaths. In other words, the government didn't have to censor Hollywood. After the 1947 hearings, Hollywood censored itself. Hundreds of artists were blacklisted by their own industries in the years that followed. The blacklist didn't just ruin careers, it silenced an entire generation of storytellers and changed the kinds of stories Americans could tell each other. Gone were films that challenged power, stories about unions, poverty, racism, and injustice. The new politically correct Hollywood produced a flood of safe, apolitical westerns, jingoistic war films, and musicals to distract the public from the injustices all around them. The House Un-American Activities Committee went after culture. But the real threat, the real source of power, was still the labor movement. While Hollywood was purging its own, organized labor was also tearing itself apart. The Congress of Industrial Organizations, the CIO, had once been the heart of the progressive labor movement. It had mobilized the working class to help win the war. Its ranks were filled with radicals, socialists, black organizers, and working mothers who believed in workplace democracy and economic justice. But under pressure from Congress, the FBI, and the press, CIO leaders made a terrible decision. They would amputate their own left arm to save the heart of their organization. Between 1949 and 1950, 11 unions were expelled, including the United Electrical Workers and the Food, Tobacco, and Agricultural Workers. Some had refused loyalty oaths. Others were too multiracial, too militant, too independent. Unions that had once fought for racial integration, public ownership, and workers' power were now silenced from within. And with that, something essential was lost to America. Not just numbers or momentum, but vision. Vision for a future where everyone in America could thrive. The American labor movement would never again be as bold, as unified, or as dangerous to capital as it was during the 4 terms of Franklin Roosevelt's presidency. In 1954, Senator McCarthy finally went too far. He accused the U.S. Army of harboring communists. The hearings were televised nationwide. Americans watched him badger, lie, and bluster, and slowly, public opinion turned against him. The breaking point came when McCarthy charged that one of the Army's attorneys had ties to a communist organization. Boston lawyer Joseph Welch replied, "Until this moment, Senator, I think I never really gauged your cruelty or your recklessness." When McCarthy continued his attack on the young lawyer, Welch interrupted.
Let us not assassinate this lad further, Senator. You've done enough. Have you no sense of decency, sir, at long last?
The Senate censured McCarthy. He lost his power, took to drinking, and 3 years later, in 1957, he died a broken man. But McCarthyism, and the abhorrent behavior he normalized, survived. A new myth took root in the hearts and souls of many Americans. That socialism was un-American, that collective action was subversive, that unions were the enemy, and that the only safe future required the unquestioned rule of the capital class. Whenever a politician calls universal health care socialism, whenever middle management asks a new employee to report anyone who mentions the word union, whenever a politician looks into a camera and lies directly to the faces of every American citizen he represents, the ghost of Senator McCarthy is whispering in our ears. McCarthyism wasn't just a brief 4-year-long chapter in American history. It was a warning to the labor class. Be quiet. Don't ask for too much. Don't stand up for people who have less than you. Don't ask your coworker how much they're making. And yet today, in warehouses, coffee shops, schools, and hospitals across the United States, workers are standing up again. The propaganda is being questioned. The stories of our pro-labor past are returning. Solidarity and class consciousness are building up once more, and the capital class impresses us less and less every time they scream at the top of their lungs, socialist, communist, un-American, traitor. We must remember who we are. We are not un-American, we are not traitors. We are patriots who believe that our country should work for the benefit of us all, not just the billionaires. We must resist when they tell us who to hate. Just for how long are we supposed to let them get away with throwing immigrants, socialists, and poor people under the bus?
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets.
My fellow Americans, our ancestors, workers, caretakers, storytellers, soldiers, all fought to secure for us a brighter future than theirs, and we are wasting their sacrifices. Solidarity is how we can still see their dream fulfilled. Workers of the whole world, unite.
Mr. McCarthy, I will not discuss this further with you. You have sat within 6 feet of me and could have asked me about Fred Fisher. You have seen fit to bring it out, and if there is a God in heaven, it will do neither you nor your cause any good. I will not discuss it further. I will not ask Mr. Cohen any more witnesses. You, Mr. Chairman, may, if you will, call the next witness.
Right? So the Red Scare, the first one was during World War I, driven by the 1917 Bolshevik Revolution. There was labor unrest, immigration anxiety, and series of anarchist bombings, which sent everyone into a panic, driven by the revolution abroad and unrest at home, leading to mass arrests and deportations. So the Red Scare of communism and socialism movement surged, which caused public anxiety and government crackdowns and widespread civil liberty violations. Right? So we don't want that again, right? Like you said, the propaganda is just not working like it used to. So we can't fall for it again. And did you hear them? They had to take a loyalty oath, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, it was all theater. Even this McCarthyism, that's all theater. It was all made up. They've all been placed.
Right. I mean, there might have been something to the maybe some players within the government. Maybe he was saying some truth about something in there, but then they hyped it up into something bigger.
Right.
Right? You never know. But you can't be scared of communism, socialism. We have a constitution, right? These Muslims taking over, that can't happen. We have a constitution.
Be scared of putting yourself in a freaking box, any box.
Right.
Like, I don't want to be labeled anything. I'm who I am. I'm just who I am. I don't want to be put in anybody's box ever again.
Right. So I mean, we have they just want to scare you, and when they scare the public, they can push more surveillance, or they can push whatever agenda they have, and it seems like that's what they're doing right now.
All right. That's why it's called a Red Scare, because it's just a scare. Right. So when we seen the 1947 all that, keep in mind Operation Mockingbird came into effect in 1945. 1947, the CIA was created. 1948, Israel created Mossad in 49. Right. So we see the timing of all that propaganda that was coming at us about standing up for the people, the workers, and stuff like that, all around the same time. Right. World War II ended in September 2nd, which was 9/2, which is a 9/11 of 45. Right. So they brought in the Operation Paperclip. They put them in They put them in really nice rooms. They put some people in camps, the so-called POWs, prisoners of war from Nazi Germany. They brought them over here. Why would I didn't understand, never understood that part. And then they built camps, and then they put women and men on it, and then we had a baby boom on top of that. So you wonder why some people act the way they do. Maybe they're the offspring of some of the people that they brought over during Operation Paperclip.
Yeah.
You know, they like to putting their boot on people's necks, guys. You just got to come to that conclusion that they literally did that, right? They brought hundreds of thousands of Nazi Germany soldiers here and put them in camps in Louisiana, different states, and then they didn't even get charged. They were let go into the population. You believe that? And then they got high positions in NASA and other. Well, Walter von Braun was part of that Operation Paperclip, right? And guess what the Nazis did? They did the propaganda. They were really good with that. How do you control a population? Well, they brought that tactic here. So that's what I think we're witnessing now. All coming to a head, right? Like the propaganda is not working anymore. Right? They were even on 60 Minutes, and the Mossad guy came on with the mask on and said they control the whole stage, the actors and the everything that you see on the news, the big major news events, all that's controlled by them. And they get to walk right into the Pentagon without even their IDs checked. They walk right in the front door. They don't go through the security like everybody else. And also, I think, yeah, Thomas Rumsfeld, yeah, Donald Rumsfeld, he said that Mossad runs the Pentagon.
Yeah, well, you
So,
walk in like a boss when you are the boss.
right.
That's what's going on.
Yeah. So that's what's going on. And most people are ignorant of that, but they don't know. They haven't a clue. Here is the next one right here.
My series, 8 Push in 1 Minute Daily. Hey, 8 Pushers, let's chat about the Red Scare as part of my series, 8 Push in 1 Minute Daily. During and after World War I, a period of intense anti-communist hysteria swept the United States and was known as the Red Scare. Fueled by the Russian Revolution of 1917 and the rise of communism, Americans became deeply suspicious of radical leftist ideologies, feared a Bolshevik-style revolution, and targeted immigrants. The federal government responded with legislation such as the Espionage and Sedition Acts, which were used to suppress dissent, leading to the imprisonment of political activists. Additionally, the Federal Bureau of Investigation was established and was tasked with monitoring and suppressing perceived subversive activities. The Bureau was the lead agency of the Palmer raids, in which thousands of suspected radicals were arrested and deported. The period of intense fears over the spread of communism, known as the Red Scare, led to scrutiny of immigrants, increased restrictions on civil liberties, and created an atmosphere of political repression. Join me tomorrow as I explain religious fundamentalism in the next 8 Push in 1 Minute Daily. Hey, 8 Pushers.
We are going back to the future. We're going back in time. We can't keep doing the same things over and over. We've got to change the course of history by not falling for it. And you can only do that if you remember history, right? Look deeper into it. How they use these tactics and propaganda. It's fear. Fear is, they know what gets us, and that's fear. And they use it all the time.
I want to make sure the American people know.
So if communism was such a failure, why do they need $350 billion to stop it if it doesn't work? And why would you give the Pentagon money to?
Because they're probably going to push the propaganda.
Oh, is it for propaganda?
Advertisement.
That's a lot of
That's
money.
what they did during the McCarthy.
Damn,
They spent a bunch of money on advertisement, billboards.
Yeah, they had to have, because they didn't really start in hard. Like the food, the water, like all, and the air, the land, all that didn't really come about until later. So they had to go hard with the media.
Yeah.
So the Republicans have all three branches of government, plus the like you said earlier, the Supreme Court. They haven't done anything in the last 2 years.
Nothing.
So they have all four branches that they haven't done shit, but they're scared of communism and they're scared of Democrats. So this is like a midterms type thing. They don't have it, like the guy said, they don't have anything else to offer us. So they're trying to put us in fear to have people turn out, so that just like when they said if you vote for Kamala, this country's going to hell. Remember that?
They're losing the public's trust. They're losing the footage, just like McCarthy did.
Right.
So he started the communism stuff, right?
Yeah, right
Which
after the
gave
midterms.
him a lot of media attention, a lot of hype, right?
Right.
Know
But
that this
people
admin-
were deported. People were arrested with no warrants for, like she said, thought crimes, or if they even thought you were associated with someone that supported communism, right? With no proof at all. And we don't want that happen again. We don't want that.
So they need $350 billion, but they got 1,800 nuclear missiles, 283 battleships. They got 9,400 planes, and they spend more money on military than the next 12 nations combined. And despite spending more every year, they still feel insecure and need to send the Pentagon another $350 billion. So what we're seeing here is the military-industrial complex is, that's what we have to control the people via the Pentagon. You know where that plane flew right into the side of the building and didn't leave any wing marks or any debris of an aircraft? All right, so we got that. So do you have anything else on the communism that I haven't went over? Shoot. Other than what we showed you. So they thought a seatbelt and not being able to drink and drive was communism.
You have to wear a seatbelt when you're driving, and pretty soon we're gonna be a communist country.
That's so funny. It's funny going back and watching, seeing how they use the same scare tactics decade after decade. When you go back to the 30s and 40s, and they still had the same issues with the border. They never solved the issues. They got to keep them there. It's what keeps the politicians, gives them something to keep you as scared of, to vote for them for, to send more money to the border, to give you more security, more people coming across, scare. It's just a money launch. It's just a tactic. Just keep the money flowing. Right, it's for your safety. That's all. Yeah. So when we throw trillions of dollars at these things for our safety, and we're no more safer than we are today than we were before we gave them the money.
Right. Like
It's
that's
weird.
right. I think Trump told you be careful what you ask for. Right? You want all this protection when you're gonna get it, but it's gonna be used against you. Right? They give you the boogeyman, they give you the solution, right? And then it's aimed at you, just like in the Red Scare. Hoover already was surveilling citizens, and then they just upped the surveillance.
Hell, Hoover was wearing dresses himself.
Yeah. Oh, he was blackmailed too.
So even the blackmailer got blackmailed.
Yeah. They all blackmail each other. It's just one big old blackmail. Right? It's like
you can't go into that world without knowing that that's going on. There's no way. They all knew.
Yeah, oh yeah.
There is no way that you can be like, oh no, not my guy. After listening to, you can't even. They're full of shit.
Yeah, you'd have to have some dirt on you to make sure of that.
Like the guy before he even gets in there has blackmail on the other guys to get in there.
Yeah.
Like it's not nuts.
Now they roll.
Well, look at that guy that's running for office. Where was it at? Up there by you, Graham. They found something on him.
Oh yeah, yeah. Or they'll make up something, yeah. I mean.
Oh yeah. People get afraid of being made up. Yeah.
Oh, it looks like you broke up with your high school sweetheart in ninth grade while you were cheating on her with another girl.
Yeah, because she'll lie because they paid her off. It's holy crappity
It
crap.
could be true or not true. It doesn't matter.
Right.
That's what's scary about.
If you're not a real person that knows yourself, like that, you'll fall for it. Like you'll be able to. They can take you over because you don't think enough of yourself to be like, yeah, go tell somebody that. They're gonna think you're like they. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't survive in a world with those people. Holy crap. My head would explode. It would actually explode.
Right? Yeah, it's terrible.
Y'all remember that time when they said Thomas Massey was sleeping with AOC and
Oh, they were having a threesome.
they were having a threesome at the
And
motel.
people believe that
People believe that shit.
because they made a joke of it, and people really believe it.
Yeah.
That's where we are.
Nobody
But
cares about the truth.
The people that believed it, they weren't with you in the first place. Like they don't know, It's,
Stuff your ex is saying about you with the NDA, that you pressured her to sign an NDA for wrongful termination.
It's all false. It's all false.
Why do you think she's out there saying it? Was it because of the primary, ahead of the primary? What do you think is motivating it? Oh, no, I just thought I would give you a chance to respond because you've never been able to tell your side of the story.
So let me ask you. I heard that you like gay porn. Is that true?
I just want to give you a chance, your side of it. I'm not going to get into that.
You don't like
Congressman, I'm not, of course I don't like it.
Really?
But thank you.
That's not what I heard.
Clear up the stuff your ex.
Yeah, see? It's not what he heard. It backfired, didn't it?
Ex is saying about you with the NDA, that you pressured her to sign an NDA.
None of this was true.
For wrongful termination. What is that true? What's she saying about you?
Who are you with?
With Fox Digital.
Oh, this is Fox? Damn, I thought it was TMZ. Holy shit.
That's gaslighting.
It's all false.
If you don't have any kind of proof and you're just walking up to a guy because they put out some kind of, that's just not good. It's, if you don't think more of yourself than to be that person, then find another career. I don't know.
And what she said about you and Bober having an intimate relationship.
Uh-oh.
It's all...
Oh, Bobert. Oh. They said Bobert and Kid Rock had something going on, too.
False.
Why do you think she's out there saying it? Was it because of the primary, ahead of the primary? What do you think is motivating it?
When did you all become a tabloid? Seriously, dude.
Well, no, I just thought I would give you a chance to respond because you've never been able to tell your side of the story. That's all. But anything you could say.
So let me ask you. I heard that you like gay porn. Is that true?
Congressman, I'm not. I just want to give you a chance.
I'm giving you a chance to give me your side. Are you a real news organization or not? No, come back, man. All you got to say is you don't like it, that you haven't been to those websites.
Of course.
All right.
Of course I don't like it.
Really?
But thank you.
That's not what I heard.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, that was my...
Just giving you a chance to respond. That's all.
No. And you're with Fox?
Well, thank you.
Is that a real news organization?
No.
Is this what you do for a living, man?
Right. Tabloid.
Sean Duffy, this guy, Sean is exceptional. And you know what people don't know? He was the world record. So I'd like to now just ask Sean Duffy, this guy.
Oh, so they had the Indy 500 with Indy cars there, OpenAI, see it? Advertise. This is what all the politicians should wear when they're in Congress. All their donors should be on their sleeve all the way down. APAC, Shell, ChatGPT, OpenAI, Honda, Bayer, Pfizer, the whole world should be on a jacket so we can see it all. That's transparency.
And then a title that says, we steal money from the taxpayer on the back. We're trying to kill you slowly.
Sean is exceptional. And you know what people don't know? He was the world record in going up logs, going up to the top of these stupid trees. I never saw anything like And Sean, how many years were you the champion?
Y'all know who Sean Duffy is?
That's that little bitch Rachel Duffy's husband that won on Fox News. They've got like 6 kids or something. One has Down syndrome. They're all about the Bible and Jesus but they're lying to you every flipping day. They're holy these people. Guess who woke up hard? Like I woke up in a real hurry. So I'm like still a little bit mad about the whole thing.
Yeah, Sean Duffy is the road rules guy. This guy.
This is the true story of 5 ex-real worlders picked for the ride of their lives.
He was a reality TV show.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah. He was on Road Rules. And he climbed logs. That's what he submitted. That's what Trump's talking about. He climbed logs because he used to climb logs. I don't know. I'll show it. It might show it in the clip. Hold on.
If they survive the missions, then I guess we'll have to give them that handsome reward.
This is like a fashion crime.
Forget your real world. This is Road Rules. All-Star!
There, Sean Duffy. All right.
Uh-oh, but that's not Rachel Duffy.
Right, I'm sure. So that's Sean Duffy.
Champion of that. 5? For 5 years, he was the world champion. He was a lumberjack. Who the hell knew that about Sean Duffy? And that because I like champions. He was the world champion for 5 years, going up a tree and coming down. He said going up wasn't bad. Coming down was very dangerous. He broke his back a couple of times, little things like that. But he was the world champion at that, climbing the tree for 5 separate times. And, you know, we respect great champions and athletes. So you wouldn't believe it. That's my man. I've known that for a long time. So I'd like to now.
That's kind of weird, right? Yeah. Like, okay, why are you making this about me? I'm just here for the OpenAI IndyCar. Right. So I just wanted to show that kind of a weird moment in the Matrix. Right.
Right.
With everything going on, they still got the Truman Show kind of running and. Right. All right. So the Save America Act and uniting the Israel IDF with our military, they snuck it in with the Save America Act via an ultimatum. So we got the NDAA and Section 219 through with the Save Act via an ultimatum. Basically, it's now a 2-for-1. So it looks like we'll be getting the Israeli integration with the military and digital ID under the guise of voter ID with the SAVE Act. So they voted 214 to 211 in favor of special rules and resolution instructing the text of the Save America Act to be attached to the National Defense Authorization Act. And they had Lindsey Graham's sister voted. That was the first thing she did right out the gate, was without even reading the bill, was vote on that, which makes her the fastest. Lindsey Graham's sister was sworn into office yesterday, and shortly afterwards was one of the 50 GOP senators to vote to integrate the U.S. military with Israel's military. So this officially makes her the fastest senator in history to betray her country. Just a single vote.
Wow.
The fastest.
You know, I saw one headline on that about her, and that's it the whole day, about nothing. Nobody's written a word about it that I've seen.
So they just put her in there to seemed like just to put in the vote, right?
How can she vote and she hasn't even read the
They
bill?
just tell her what to do, right? Which is
So the timing is very, 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 very strange that we're seeing this take place. And then you've got Chuck Grassley here doing the swear-in ceremony.
Discharge the duties of the office on which you are about to enter, so help you God.
I do.
What is she signing in?
oh, how long are they gonna clap for?
Shit. And they act like they knew her or something.
Huh.
Huh?
Yeah.
And then she voted?
Well, they said she was at all his campaigns and appearances, which is strange. Never even heard of her.
They're doing a little tribute
Right.
here for Lady G. So Trump said he blew up, which is what I thought. Trump said a part, and I quote, a part of Lindsay's body literally blew up.
That's what he said.
Right? Remember that? Okay, how do you survive 2 drone attacks but yet you die of a heart attack an hour later?
I
Right.
don't know.
So
How do you?
the Israeli military merging with the U.S., that's been done that way. They're not really merging, but the United States and Israel have built one of the the closest military partnerships in the world. Working together since 1970 and steadily expanding cooperation with technology, intelligence, missiles, defense, and joint operations. Military integration means the two forces coordinate closely while remaining independent. That's what they're saying. Joint operations, shared exercises, coordinated missions, liaison officers, defense technology, collaboration, the Iron Dome, Arrow, David Sling, intelligence sharing, real-time threat data, and regional monitoring, logistics cooperation, U.S. weapons stockpile stored inside Israel for rapid deployment. So they've been doing it since the 1970s. Their military expanded in the 1980s with joint training and intelligence coordination. 1990s, post-Gulf War, intelligence sharing. 2000, joint missile defense deployment accelerates. 2010, Iron Dome becomes a major shared project. 2020's integration grows into cyber, AI, and command and control systems. 24 through 26, U.S. legislation pushes for even tighter defense industry integration. So they share R&D pipelines, integrated early warning systems, embedded Israeli officers in U.S. commands, U.S. procurement of Israeli weapon system. So we've been entangled with them with the military for a long time and intelligence.
Yeah, that's why I did the 1947 Mossad. CIA was created in 47, Israel 48.
And that's just when they were put together, right? So they were already working.
Yeah, they started integrating.
They just came out of their closet.
Yeah, they're just showing you now. It's just out in the open. No one knows.
Mask them off, in other words.
Yes, they're not hiding it.
They're not hiding it no more. Now, what are you going to do about it?
No, they were working before 1947. All them.
Oh yeah, you go back to You can go back to 1917, 1913. You can go back to 1911. But
So they came.
Jekyll Island, Jekyll Island.
They became a band in 1947, officially. Like
After World War II.
Yeah.
After we lost the war, they told us we won. The media did.
And Lindsey Graham once called for Putin to be, taken out. You have any suspicions or worries? Do you think we know the whole story about his death?
Well, I think we do. We've had great doctors, and they talked about, a certain part of his body literally blew up, and that's a condition I believe is.
Who says that?
I know he said.
Unless he blew up,
crazy
then
stuff.
how do you? It's like telling the truth. It's like telling you without telling you to
But
cover his ass.
He just says it.
He's like, I told you he blew up.
He just blew up.
I told you Joe was shot. Y'all didn't believe me.
He-
Lindsey Graham blew up. Wouldn't you say like heart attack? Yeah, it's like a heart attack. You don't say, damn, yeah, something blew up on him. Like what? What was?
His father had also. His father died. His body literally blew up, and that's a certain part of his body literally blew up, and that's
Yeah, the whole damn thing.
a condition I believe his father had also. His father died very, very young from heart complications, and that's what Lindsay had. And it's something that's, number one, is very tough to see, and even if you see it, it's hard to fix, very hard to fix. And he had a problem with arteries, and I thought he was like a 70% blockage. I said, Lindsay, you're going to have to go and take care of that. But this was not that problem. This was a different problem that wasn't really related.
Maybe he had that diarrhea stuff that's going around, and that's what he's talking about, he blew
explosive,
up.
explosive.
Maybe it was explosive diarrhea.
That's what they're saying.
Oh my goodness.
Maybe that's what it was. So Lindsey Graham's sister was sworn in. Here we go. Here she is. Up there. Yeah, ain't that weird? I feel like we're in like some kind of like political twilight zone.
It is.
Like, is this real? Are we really doing this? I'm like, is this the dream or is that the dream? Like, which side is reality? Because this is really weird. Really, really weird. This was not on my bingo card, was it? Was anybody?
No,
Like, somebody said,
nobody's really saying anything like what the like. How can she just be placed in there? How can you? I haven't seen anything about anybody questioning this.
and how does Lindsey Graham die before Mitch McConnell?
Yeah, really, that guy.
Right.
That's another thing that everyone's
They don't
asking.
have someone to
Is that
go in his seat, I guess. Like
It-
they had
it is-
Lindsay's sister.
What a movie! What a movie with him not dying, and the other one dying. Like the one has been dying, like he's hanging on by a thread.
Yeah.
The whole time, and then the other one, he just blows up or something. We're not sure. The doctor's sure, but we're not sure.
I know.
We gotta wait the 72 hours.
all right? So tonight's show is called Red Scare 3.0. I hope you got a little something from it, not to be in fear of the same tactics that they like to use on us over and over.
Fall for it.
So I just hope that people pray, see through past and through the propaganda and stop falling for the fear porn. Midterms are coming up. They're going to scare you even more.
Yep.
Of like, who knows? Maybe shit. I don't know. Whoever. What do they got now? What are they in fear of right now? Each party now they're doing this on they're doing this on the left and the right. The Democrats are putting their voters in fear of the Trump administration,
Yeah, they're saying they're
and vice versa.
fascist and
Right.
Hitler.
Yes.
Right. Even though there's parallels to on both sides, right? There are some similarities, parallels, and maybe done on purpose, right? So we recognize these things, remember these things, don't let these things happen. But yeah, everyone has something.
Yeah.
Thank God we all are on this journey together, and we
Yes.
we can see through it for the most part. If people have questions or they need help to get past, like, I would be in Twitter Spaces, and Escanor, he would be saying how all this stuff about Trump, and I'm like, Escanor, just keep on talking, like keep on putting your stuff out, so because I can't see it yet, like my eye, I wasn't closed off to it, but I couldn't see, like, even though you see he was in the Scottish Rite, like you could see he's a Mason, you could see all these things, but still the hand symbol, it's Space Force, it's not anything, it's nothing bad. So I was still making all these excuses, but Escanor and other people would still keep trying, and then eventually you get to figure it out. But if anybody is having a hard time with specific people or something really specific, then maybe if you put it to us as a question, maybe there's somebody else is having the same problem and we can go over it.
Yeah, definitely.
Anybody saying this?
Yeah, it's cute.
It sharpens her nails. Isn't that a good idea?
Yeah, Bud would totally do that.
That's a great idea.
I need to do that. See if that works.
Yeah, we need to do that.
What if it doesn't, and then the food just sits in there, and then they wait till open, and then they take it out, and then I just did all that for nothing.
That's where you put that in case an emergency food.
Right?
That's all, folks. Anybody else got anything? Anything? I'm checking my notes real quick to see if I forgot anything. That's it. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. We'll see you Friday.
Yes.
Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
Also, we'll give you a reminder maybe during the show. I don't know if it'll be on the 17th is the next show, so that'll be when the comments and stuff like that are when the alignment's taking place. Trump's making a speech Thursday afternoon. I think it's going to be something to do with the voting integrity, yada yada. Right. So, other than that, we'll see you Friday. Have a great rest of the day.
Has anybody owed you sizes for your bracelets or any different anything that they won?
Yeah, I've got people back with me. Some of the orders went out today, and the rest will probably go out tomorrow or the next day.
All right, so is anybody outstanding for their information?
I have to go back through.
All right, if
I
you are,
got everybody.
Okay, good. All right, have a good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Love and light.
Yeah. Land of the free.
Yeah.
I got a deed in my hand, but it feels like a loan. Paying taxes on the dirt like the state really owns. Every year they come knocking, saying pay or you're gone. Makes you wonder if the freedom we were promised is gone. They say it's private property, but that line's getting thin. When the government decides what you can build, where you can live, utilities cut across it like a vein in my skin. If a neighbor builds too close, the courts step in. Tell me how I'm free when the land ain't mine. When they take it for a road or a power line. Feels like I'm living on borrowed time in the land of the free. But it don't feel like mine. Oh, but it don't feel like mine. Oh yeah. Eminent domain like a knock at the door, saying we need your backyard, maybe even more. They'll pay what they choose, call it just and fair, but you lose your home while they stand and stare. Property taxes like a rent I can't quit. Miss a payment and they'll take every bit. Ownership's a word that don't quite fit when the government's the landlord and we're tenants in it. Zoning laws tell me what I can't create, what I can't build on my own damn estate. Feels like control dressed up as fate, and every rule they write just locks the gate. Tell me how I'm free when the land ain't mine. When they take it for a road or a power line. Feels like I'm living of the free. But it don't feel like mine. They say it ain't communism, but the power's the same when the government decides every inch of the game. On a ship's a shadow, just a legal name, and freedom's feeling fragile like a flickering flame. I ain't saying we're red, but the lines show blood when the state has the final say on what's yours. Feels like freedom ain't what it was before, and the Constitution's voice is a distant roar. Tell me how I'm free when the land ain't mine, when they take it for a road or a power line. Feels like I'm living on borrowed time in the land of the free. But it don't feel like mine. But it don't feel like mine. Maybe freedom's still here, but it's harder to find when the rules keep changing and the walls closing tight. I'm holding my D like a lifeline in the land of the free. But it don't feel like mine.